And we're sitting here with our superintendents. We have Dr. Brian Johnson, Dr. Douglas Hendricks Sr., and Dr. Norman Sauce III. And so I'm going to switch over now to student achievement. We know that COVID did a work on our kids that sometimes people are still not talking about. Even with the amount of money, the billions that we've spent on education, do you still feel that student achievement is where it should be? As a result of COVID in those years, did those years set us back? And if so, how do we rebound from that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it definitely set us back. But I think we're at a point where we're starting to balance out. We made sure that we focused, especially in the early grades, on literacy and foundational math. That has been significant for us. Just last year, we saw 739 of our children move from the early intervention program into proficiency. That means those children are closer to their dreams. We've seen a tremendous increase in the last 3 years in the number of students who are making 3s, 4s, and 5s on AP examinations. So we're raising the ceiling and the floor. But it's taken great intentionality. It means teachers have to train and have to be trained in the areas where students will most benefit. And our resources have to go in the right places to address the issues that COVID created. COVID was one of those once-in-a-lifetime things that pushed our society back in tremendous ways, especially our children and their educational situation. But I do believe we're at a point where we're making tremendous comeback. 51% of our students are now moving into AP classes. And so we are raising the ceiling and the floor. But, yes, it did set us back. But, yes, in Clayton County, we're starting to see the rebound.
Okay.
Yeah, probably in Atlanta Public, I would concur in that the pandemic definitely had an adverse impact on school districts across the country. I think this last couple of years probably been the first time since the pandemic that I think we're starting to see some real forward momentum, and our students really recover to pre-pandemic levels. Atlanta Public Schools was one of only 108 districts in the country to be named a district on the rise by Harvard and Stanford, and that's for gains in English language arts and math. And so we're excited about our trajectory. Similar to Clayton, we've seen huge increases in our AP, not just participation, but also qualifying score, which are 3s, 4s, and 5s, as he mentioned. And then, like most districts, we're investing deeply in literacy. And so, literacy is our focus. We have really doubled down to try to make sure that by 3rd grade, our students are proficient, because we know that 3rd grade is when you start to read to learn, right? And so, it's really important for us, and we'll continue that work as we go forward.
Mm-hmm. I would add for DeKalb County School District, it's certainly been said about the challenges the pandemic presented, but as we've gotten beyond that, we're excited that this year we are launching our district's first ever unified literacy plan that our Board of Education approved just past June, our first ever literacy policy. And so we're very excited to follow the lead and the example of some of our other districts in Metro Atlanta to lean in on literacy. We also are excited that in the last couple of years we have focused on elevating our opportunities for children to be considered for gifted education. We've had nearly a 20% increase in children identified for gifted education in the last 2 years, particularly from our 4 most underrepresented subgroups in gifted education, which is our African American children, our Latino children, students with disabilities, and our English learners, at nearly double-digit increases in those subgroups alone. And we are also excited that we've launched an initiative going into this year to increase our middle school students' access to Carnegie High School credit-bearing courses in middle school, and our our high school students access to AP, IB, work-based learning, and dual enrollment courses. And I'll also offer that this past year, the class of 2026 earned $301 million in scholarship earnings, wow, compared to $210 million the year before. So we're excited about that. And so as Dr. Hendricks mentioned, the ceiling and the floor, we are the largest provider of pre-K in the state of Georgia, and we're one of the few public school districts that provide pre-K 3. So we're excited to offer pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 at the volume that we do. More than 3,000 children experience pre-K in DeKalb County, and so we're going to continue to lead in that space, particularly as we launch this literacy plan that we're that we're excited to do so this year. So.
I love all of that. And I want to piggyback on something you said, and it's going to go with your literacy program, and it's something you said about third grade education. What are all of you all doing to make sure that our children are prepared to be on grade level reading in third grade? Like, what special initiatives have you all taken to make sure that happens?
No. Well, we've invested, as I know these two gentlemen, because we sit around the table talking about it regularly. And really, it's called the science of reading, but structured literacy, right? Where there's a heavy focus on phonics. Our teachers have gone through and will continue to go through really intensive training to make sure that they're positioned to be successful. Also, this year we're launching the accelerated literacy model in 4 of our elementary schools, and what we've really done. In addition to making sure that, we don't just have experienced teachers in those classrooms, we also in those 4 buildings are ensuring that the teachers that are there are highly effective. And so for us, really systemically, there's a really keen focus on, really the quality of instruction. We've got to go by 2030 to, have our average teacher salary at $100,000. We're at about $91,000 right now.
Ooh,
we're on a move to get in that direct. Come on. We're recruiting. We'll get you. We'll figure out how to get you supported and certified. But there is a major focus on the early grades, as was mentioned. Early literacy, pre-K, really making sure that we get our seats filled and that our families that need it the most are taking advantage of that opportunity.
This year we open up this is Douglas Hendricks, Clayton County Public Schools. This year we open up our Early Learning Center. In fact, we have our ribbon cutting today. So we're one of those school districts. Thank you. Thank you. We're one of those school districts that has taken the responsibility of educating 3-year-olds, pre-K 3. And of course, we don't get funding back for that. So call your friends from the state and tell them to change that so we can all start to grab 3-year-olds. But we've been working with Learn for Life as well as the Atlanta Speech School. We partner with the Rollins Center, which is a part of the Atlanta Speech School, and they're some of the foremost authorities on the science of reading nationally. And so they come in and they help us to coach and train our coaches and teachers. And just recently we got a $4.5 million grant from the United Way of Atlanta to help us with our efforts to try to put coaches and reading specialists in all of our schools to accompany the staff that we already have. We're making sure that the teachers that we have in the early grades teaching literacy are of the highest quality and have the most experience, and we continue to train them. And what we're seeing is a difference being made for community. And so it's been said, and it can't be understated, that children who can't read might as well be on another planet. It's the literacy that will change the dynamic of the world as it relates to war, as it relates to thoughts about having empathy for other people. And so literacy is a huge thing, and we work towards improving ourselves in this area every day. But it's working. We see it. The 739 proof is it works. So.
I would add to that. So I appreciate what Dr. Hendricks mentioned about the partnership with Learn for Life, Atlanta Speech School, United Way. I think, if I'm not mistaken, APS and some other metro districts as well. We're embarking on that same journey and have built the bridges to some of those same partnerships this past school year. And so we're grateful to those entities you referenced to come to the table with us in DeKalb and elevating the efficacy of our teachers' approach to literacy pedagogy. In addition, this past year we had about 98% of our K through 3 teachers trained in structured literacy, and about 99% of our pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 teachers trained in structured literacy, even though the law doesn't require. If you think about how counterintuitive this is, the law doesn't require that pre-K teachers get the same structured literacy training that K3 teachers do, but in DeKalb County School District, we've done that. Also this year, we're excited, for the first time in anyone's memory in DeKalb County School District, we're going to have paraprofessionals in our kindergarten classrooms for the first time this year. Now mind you, we're building out incrementally as far as budget pressures and whatnot as we adjust here and there. So we're starting out with a kindergarten paraprofessional at each elementary school for the kindergarten team to share and rotate. But we have a plan over the next 3 years to put one in every single classroom. And we're also providing literacy coaches in our elementary schools this year, as are our colleagues. And we're excited to be building out towards those same reading specialists as well with some of that same grant money we're looking to get. So I know those partners are listening, and so we're excited to get there too as we build out our infrastructure and follow y'all's lead.
And we're back. You're waking up with Dion News and Talk, WAOK, the voice of the community. And we're still sitting here with the superintendents. Before I start reading questions from some of our guests, I still got some things I got to ask about. I hear a lot about proficiency, especially in stuff like math. Y'all, this new math is not my math. I can't even help my grandchild with this math because I don't even know what's going on. It's got me in a chokehold. But explain to us what y'all mean by proficiency. Talk to me like I'm in the third grade so I can understand what y'all mean by we got to meet these proficiency rates, and how do we help our kids also do well in math? Because we talked about literacy, but this math thing, this math.
Yeah. Happy to start the conversation about proficiency. So when we speak to proficiency, the state every year, but sets a cut score in regards to, when I say cut, they set up a high water mark, a standard in regards to what they see as this percentage of students has mastered or is proficient in this particular area. And so as school systems, you're trying to move more and more of our students towards proficiency. But it's not just about moving towards proficiency in isolation. We want all of our students to grow. So when we talk about that ceiling and the floor, it's really moving that floor while still raising that ceiling. So when we say proficiency, it's just a matter of how many students are proficient based on the standard the state has set.
Okay, I got that. But that is math. How are we doing in Georgia as it relates to math and proficiency? Are these kids getting this new math? Because I know the parents, most of us can't help them. So what they doing? Because
we know that the work never stops.
Okay.
None of us will be satisfied with, last year's results. We want to continue to raise the floor, raise the ceiling, as Dr. Johnson referenced. So, in DeKalb County, we have seen some elevated outcomes in math, particularly as the math standards changed 2 years ago. But, it's a matter of continuing to hone our teachers' craft, to elevate their pedagogy, and their understanding of the latest, expectations as the standards have changed, but we can never be satisfied. We have to continue to elevate what we expect and how we reach and serve our students, whether it's math, science, social studies, literacy, or otherwise.
Okay.
I would just say that my colleagues were spot on with that. Proficiency is the floor and should be the floor. And so we're trying to move our children who are at the beginning stages and the stages that are prior to proficiency up to proficiency, and then proficiency becomes the new floor. That's the goal of public education if we're all going to have an equitable chance at a good education.
I have a question. Have y'all tried to do this new math?
I've certainly observed plenty of instruction in math classes, and it's a good thing. I finished a long time ago.
Asking because I was sitting here. So when I'm trying to teach my grandson at first, because he was like, "Gigi, that is not it." I was like, "I can't help you then because I don't know what's happening." So then how is there something available to help parents then and grandparents to figure out how to teach this new math? Because some of us like to sit down and help, but we don't know what we're doing now. I don't know.
Absolutely. So our first step and first stop, and this is where parents, I think, and grandparents and aunts and uncles, whoever is involved in the child's life, always start with the teacher. The teacher is the number one starting point as far as resources are concerned, and then obviously assistant principal. At the system level, we've got some resources available, whether it be online and at the district office. But always, that relationship with that teacher, being able to say, "Hey, we're not getting this. What help us here," is really important. A lot of our schools will have math nights and STEM nights and different type of academic based nights, and those are also good opportunities to take advantage of and to lean into at your child's school.
I don't even know why y'all changed it. Where did they come from?
It's beyond us in isolation. We don't sit around. Yeah. So you most of the time it starts at the White House and it impacts the schoolhouse.
Yeah. Clearly.
So that's the way it usually flows.
Clearly, and then taking cursive out of schools, like
Well, it's come back now.
Yeah, it's come back.
Come back.
In fact, many of our schools
Have you had
John
one?
Hancock
Really?
Award for
Yeah.
cursive writing, and has
That's
been
true.
visited by the state superintendent. So I'm sure my colleagues can say the same. We're bringing cursive writing back. You know, it's interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk at some point in time about AI.
Yeah, that's on here.
and
Yeah,
tech.
right.
And we have to be careful because we can't forfeit our humanity for technology. And to your point about cursive writing, to some degree, that's what we do when we forfeit our right to typewriters and AI and all of those things. And schools are very aware of that, not just with our students, but also with our teachers and with our parents. So I'll wait for the conversation about AI.
Oh yeah, AI is coming. You know, that's the very next conversation. But while I'm on policy, is there one policy now you wish was not in place, or you think is detrimental to how you all teach? Your teachers are able to educate in the system, or is there a policy you wish you could add that would help you with instruction for our kids?
I'll start with that one. I don't mind saying this. So I would answer that this way. What I would appreciate, what I would like to see is that, you know, policymakers and decision makers who are so far removed from the classroom and from the spaces that we're in every day, supporting families, scholars, and teachers, don't make assumptions about our existence. Don't make assumptions about what we need and don't need before they make substantive decisions that significantly affect how we fund schools, how we support schools, what we're teaching. There's a variety of laws that have been passed where they think they're solving a problem that doesn't even exist, and they just assume, without having been in our spaces, what it is we need and we don't need. So that irks me to no end. I'm sure my colleagues might have a similar point of view on some of that, but connect with us. Come be with us. Come see our classrooms. Come talk to our teachers. Before you would make assumptions about what laws or policies need to change or need to be passed without even engaging with us. That's what I would offer.
I think if I had to address it from the point of laws, it seems like there is a effort to defund schools, which in my opinion is the opposite direction in which we should go. So I do not like that as legislation that comes out every year with multiple attempts. But here's what I would most want people to understand, that teaching is the profession that makes all other professions. Before you were a great writer, someone graded your first paragraph. Before you were a first actor, someone taught you how to act. Before you were a doctor, someone taught you your first science lesson. We need more respect for people who come into the field of education. And I think that's the thing that irks me in our capitalistic society. You heard Mr. Johnson try to recruit all of our teachers by telling
corporate tax,
all this $100,000 and stuff. I understand. I understand. But that should be the minimum for teachers.
It should.
And we have to get to a point of realizing and respecting what it is they do, and not just what they do, but what they sacrifice. These people sacrifice their children in many regards to come and take care of other people's children. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of intention to change an individual's mind, especially a child. And so many times these people are looked at in ways where we're looking at their wallet instead of the character of their deeds. And we have to turn back towards making them some of the most powerful people in our community. Because to teach is to love and is to respect, and they should get love and respect back. So that's one of the things that I would change, not just about policy, but about our society. Change how we look at educators. They're too important to disregard.
Yes, they are. You have something?
I won't add anything to that. I think when our desire to get to $100,000 for teachers, part of it is the cost of living in Atlanta looks a little bit different than Clayton and DeKalb. But when I go back and think about one of our strategic plan is built on back to basics. And as we look at what's happening and you go back and you think, I think about the neighborhood I grew up in. Around the corner, there was a teacher. and around the other corner there was a teacher, and there was always a teacher that was close. And when I start to think about what that does for community, what that does for, expectations, I was scared to do the wrong thing. That teacher wasn't even in my school building, but I felt like she knew somebody that could tell on me. You know what I mean?
Right,
and so and I'm sure she did. And so you think about what we need, I believe, as a society, and what we're trying to build as a school system here in Atlanta. We want to see our teachers have an opportunity to live here, to send their children to our school system, to live, work, and play, so to speak. And so all of those things we believe exist. And this back to basics approach, elevating the profession, making sure they're compensated well. And it's not just compensation, it's also culture. And it's all those other things that make a huge difference.
I like that. We get ready to go to break, but I have something, every now and then I ask guest stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. So right now I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite food? Let's go. Let's see what we got. You don't know what you're talking about?
Wow, man, I like so much. My favorite food right now is probably salmon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, APS is with salmon. Yeah. What Clayton doing?
Wow. Favorite food. Goodness. Sea bass.
Sea bass.
Stay seafood then.
Okay, seafood.
Okay. I've been a pescatarian for 25 years, so I'm gonna up the ante on my fellow colleagues here. I'm gonna go with swordfish, which I don't always get a chance to get to.
I like swordfish,
but swordfish with some broccoli, I'm good to go.
And I like salmon. So we in good company. So we already know, y'all. It's seafood. The answer is seafood. Seafood wins. We're gonna go to break and be right back on News and Talk WAOK.